So we come to our final speaker for the day, Mr. Derek Walker, Future Generations Commissioner for Wales, who's going a little bit off script with us and open to some kind of conversation as we end out the day. Can I just encourage anyone who wants to sit down? There's loads of chairs over here. If you want to come across, you're very welcome. Thanks, Derek.
That was really unfair to ask me to follow that. We switched these things around and we got that wrong because I was due to be last but one. But that was amazing, Connor. Absolutely incredible. So I'm Derek Walker. I'm the Future Generations Commissioner for Wales, and I messed up in my presentation today. I came with a presentation which is all about explaining the Wellbeing of Future Generations Act. And then within 5 minutes of being in this room, I'd heard it mentioned 4 times. So I thought that's a complete waste of my time and yours to be talking about what the Wellbeing of Future Generations Act. So I would really rather this be a bit of a conversation and I guess a bit of a mop-up session in terms of what you've learned today. I've only been here for part of the day, and what you would do in my shoes as a result of what you've discussed today, because I'm new in this role, I'm learning about how to do this role, and I'm putting a new plan in place for my term in this office, and I really need to hear about how we do more of the type of work that you're doing, because how you are bringing together culture and arts in order to improve the well-being of the people in Wales, as well as being an end in itself, is what we need to see more of. And actually, when you look at the analysis that I've done in the role, if you look at how the wellbeing goals are being considered by public bodies, councils, health boards, or other agencies like NRW, culture, Welsh language, is last but one. It's not given the attention that we need it to be given if we are to meet our objectives in the Wellbeing of Future Generations Act and in terms of our 7 wellbeing goals. So what do we need to do in order to put it higher up the agenda? And that's what I'd really like to have a bit of a conversation about. We talked about what it's like Connor was talking about what it's like to be around in 2023. Well, part of my job is to think about what it's going to be like in 21-23. To think long term about what it's going to be like for my grandchildren, your great-grandchildren. What is our country going to be like? And what do we need to do now to act today for a better tomorrow? So what do we need to do? It's not about not acting in today's interests, but it's about acting for the future too, and making sure we have the interests of our future generations in mind. And that is the beauty of this wonderful legislation. This legislation we should be so proud of. I've been knocked over coming into this role by how much international interest there is in this legislation. We're the only country in the world to put the SDG, the Sustainable Development Goals, in legislation. We're the only country in the world to do that. They are looking at having a UN Future Generations Special Envoy, and they're using the terms of reference for my job to do that one. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And we are starting to see the impact of this legislation. So I go all around Wales, and I know, we've heard it today, people get it. They're proud of it. They understand why we have it. But we know, and this is perhaps a Welsh thing, our ambition, our implementation, doesn't always match our ambition in terms of the change that we want to see. And that's what I need to make my term about in terms of helping make our ambition more of a reality. And the overwhelming theme that I've had back from people is we need more help with the how. They get why we've got it. You speak to, everyone in this room, I'm sure, gets why we've got this legislation. No one wants sticking plaster solutions to our problems in Wales. They know we need to fix things now, for now and in the future, but people need support with the how. And the biggest feedback I get is, how are we meant to do the future stuff when we've got massive problems now? Well, the truth is we have no choice, not because of the legislation, although that is supposed to be giving people no choice. It's because we can't afford to wait any longer to tackle the long-term challenges that we're facing. We're running out of time to deal with the biodiversity crisis. We've got like 5 years before we, the recent Nature report was absolutely terrifying in terms of the loss of species we're facing. We know in terms of climate change, we are running out of time to stop the global temperature rising to 2 degrees, which will be devastating for Wales, for rural, coastal Welsh language communities. So we need to act now. We have no choice about whether to do it. We can do it, though, and that's why I really like Connor's message. We can do it. We are doing it. When you look at our transport policy in this country, it has been revolutionised by the Wellbeing of Future Generations Act. I was at the 10-year celebration of the active travel legislation this morning, and as a result of that legislation and this legislation, we have shifted the amount of money that we spent on roads to public transport. We've shifted the amount that we're spending on active travel from where it was there to there. It needs to be there, but it's going in the right direction. So we need to follow that through until people of Wales see the difference, so that we see public transport that's the easiest option for us to use, so that we see air quality that's better than in other parts of the country because we're doing this. And so we see the results for people. So it's not just good enough to stop things, stop road building and so forth. We need to see the outcomes. So we can do it. We're the third best in terms of recycling in the world. There's lots to be proud of, but we need to go much further and much faster. And one of the areas that we're not so good at is the area of prevention in healthcare, which is, I guess, a lot of what you've been talking about today. We need to, because of this legislation, because of our approach, we need to be seeing problems not occurring to the same extent here than in other parts of the UK, because we've got ahead of it and we saw the problems coming down the line and we've acted to prevent long-term health problems occurring. We've acted to mitigate the challenges that we might be facing because we've got ahead of the curve. And we're not doing enough of that. We can all see that. And, our hospitals will be overrun if we don't address those kind of issues. So it's a huge privilege to do this role, and but it's only possible to do it in collaboration with everyone in this room and everyone outside of this room. This is very much the People's Act. It's a legislation for the people of Wales. And when you see the people of Wales challenging decision makers, policy makers, politicians, to be doing the right thing because it's not in line with the Wellbeing of Future Generations Act, which I see on a daily basis, it's starting to bite. And that's the only way we're going to make the change that we want to see for this country and the brighter future we want to see for our children today, but also for our future generations.